Hello there, folks. Congratulations on making it to another recording of the countrywide famous podcast, Über Cinco, the podcast game show where we deep dive top fives. In a new year, many a folkin will recommit themselves to progress, take the time to fill out meaningless spreadsheets and Excel formulas on big workout plans, ambitious budgets, or a reading extravaganza they will be executing over the new year. But not round these parts, muchachos. No. Today is the kind of episode where you pull your chair up to the goddamn table, toss your stinky dogs up on top, and lean back in your favorite chair as the glint in your eye has the same shade it did the year before, and the one before that, and that other a couple back before now. That's right. You are in perfect, whatever state you have arrived, you are perfect, muchacho, looking into your own mirror, of course, but that perfect state is how you shall stay. And play today, mon frères, because you are perfect. I'm your host, Mitch Brinkman, and today we're unspooling the list that gives zero cow pies about your brainwaves or mouth noise for this top five. So strap in as we tackle the top 5 things about myself I will never change. I think he could cuss less, but he honestly couldn't give one flying shit. It's Brian Ernst. Hey, Brian.
Hey, fuck you. Welcome to the new year.
Brian, I love when you come in hot and you come in large and in charge and you come in with your agenda. It's always my favorite thing.
That's what I do. And if I could come in on the mic hotter, I would, because that's how fucking amped I am for today.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, and our next contestant, who goes by The Faith, could really listen more and talk less, but then he'd be depriving the world of this. It's
Nathan Hennenfant.
Listen to that silky ooze come out of the mic.
If you don't mind, I'd like to send out a special birthday message to my mom and dad, who both had birthdays this weekend. Happy birthday, Mom and Dad.
Hey, happy birthday.
That is a good son. You know what's also good? Our brand new website. Go down to bizbear.biz. It's redesigned. It's gorgeous. Check it out. It's gonna blow your website eyes to the moon, if you will. And for that snazzy new look, we'd like to thank our new liquor sponsor, Sisters Beer and Spirits, on Route 59 in downtown Elbow Lake, Minnesota. If you hit the lake, you've gone too far. Sisters Beer and Spirits, fueling the good times at home since 1993. Okay, and don't forget to stick around to the end of the episode, where I, your host, will be delivering a Fast Five, and that is Fast Five things you pretend to be doing while watching your neighbors from across the way. Okay, before we start the game, of course, we have to learn about the rules, so let's do that now.
Each player in the den has spent time with today's topic arranging their top 5 answers in order of importance. Those answers have been submitted to the host, who will moderate the game, awarding points to the player with the most poignant answer.
Starting with their number 5 choice, we will move up the ranks until we reach each of their top answers. But if both contestants happen to have the same answer on their list, well, we have an Uber stare-down.
You will hear the official Über Cinco siren, and both players must reveal their answer and what number they ranked their submission. An Uber stare-down is all or nothing, with one player earning 3 points. After all answers have been read, the host will reveal the final score.
And every episode here on Über Cinco, the host is welcome to create their own house rule. Now, I also will never change a couple of things about myself. The chaos I bring to Über Cinco, that's number 1. And number 2, I'll never change all the hard work I put into this show to find and retain sponsors, which I'd like to thank Crank Donkey Buzz Market Research for finding all my warm leads that turned into hot sponsors over the past year. Toledo's third to last opened market research firm with the region famous Donkey Kick hot lead sheet. Crank Donkey Buzz Market Research. Donkey kick your quiet biz into a buzz. So my house rule is simple, you guys. Get off your lazy asses and help me pay for the show, god dang it, and get some of your bits sponsored, for Christ's sake. Extra bonus points for true synergy. Okay, we're doing top 5 things I vow to never change about myself this week. I need to choose a first player. Brian, you can go first if you can answer this simple question. What is the one common ingredient among all these cocktails that are mentioned in the famous cruise flick cocktail? They are the Velvet Hammer, Dirty Mother, Orgasm, Angel's Tip, Friar Tuck, Pink Squirrel. What is the one common ingredient in all of those?
Excessive amounts of dairy?
Ooh, you are correct. More specifically, heavy cream, baby. All right.
Oh, boy.
Brian, please give us your number 5 thing that you will never change about yourself.
All right. My number 5 here, which of course is sponsored by Slam Peterson's Gotcha Cam. Get it now at your local Walmart. This is thing I will never change about myself is the opinion that my clock is the one the world needs to follow.
Oh, interesting.
Now, yes. So when I want to get up and go, I'm ready. I'm at the door, and either my lovely better half is running late and still putting shoes on, or I'm at home and my parents can't find their keys and they want to go to the movies or whatever. But I'm at the door. I'm on time. Now, when I've had a rough day and I'm a little slow, everyone's got to wait for me to catch up. Okay.
Okay.
I'll get there. I'm on my own pace. Don't worry. My clock's right.
Okay.
My clock's right. You just got to wait for it. So that's the one thing I got to do is just make sure everyone gets on my time. That's, yeah.
Now, some people attune their lives to the timing of a fine German watch, or maybe the moon, or the waves, or your alarm that you forgot to turn off before you went to bed. What do you? What's your life set to? What runs your time?
My life is set to a designed in California by Apple, Shanghai manufactured Apple watches. That is what makes my time accurate. Even though I did for our anniversary this week, did get a lovely Fossil watch from Jenny. That's very, very nice on the wrist. Doesn't track my steps.
Okay.
So I can only use it for fancy dinners where the steps don't matter anyway, where I'm pumping myself full of 26-ounce ribeye.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But on the nights where I really got to track everything, I'm back to the old designed in California bad boy.
Now, I know back in, the early 2000s, Fossil came hot onto the scene. I myself got a Fossil. I think I was in junior high or early high school. Nathan, did you ever have a Fossil watch?
No, I never did. I don't think I've worn a watch since the first Bush administration.
Oh my God! Oh, so you were one of those kids who had the nice rubberized watches.
Yeah, I'm very on Brian's page here with this. Time is a social construct.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, we know that's what you think.
Yeah.
But it needs to benefit me, and that's what I'm not going to change. I swear. I will never change.
My thing is, it goes by sleep. So I have a sleeping disorder, so sleep has been a problem. Sleeping in the conventional hours of a 9-to-5 life have always been a problem ever since I was conscious of remembering. So I think the time for me is just the circadian rhythm is this very novel concept, but hear me out. You sleep when you're tired, you get up when you're not. There you go.
What?
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the disorder Nathan is referring to is he sleeps upside down like a bat. It's very, very unique to see. And it's the rigging on the sleeping bag alone is engineering marvel.
I was going to say, I know, Brian, you talk about maybe you have some time issues. Nathan, I'll admit, I also have some time issues. And I found out recently, I've been, that trick where you say, oh, you set your clock forward 30 minutes and then you're never late.
Mm-hmm.
I accidentally set my clock back 45 minutes. So this whole time I thought it was on time, and I realized I was putting my clock the wrong way this whole time. So I apologize. Okay. That's on me, guys. But you know what? I got it fixed last week. And you know where I went?
The Fossil store?
Oh, very close. It's actually it's in the shopping center behind the mall that the Fossil store is in. It's Old German Man's Clock Shop, right on Route 12. Owned by Gertrude von Gluck. Old German Man Clock Shop is the best in old rustic Minnesota clock management. Thank you to Old German Man Clock Shop getting me on time for the first time in a couple decades. Here we go. Nathan, I want to hear your number 5 now because Brian's, I guess, it's on theme. I am the universe. The universe centers are on me. I will never change.
Yes,
I'm great.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to hear some from you there, bud.
Well, my number 5 is, of course, brought to you by Tampax. That's right, Tampax. we may not be the number 1 brand, but we're up there.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
It's late, folks.
Yeah,
it's
we go.
late.
I can't remember where I stole that from, but
Credit to them.
yeah, that's one that didn't make my list. Was I'm never going to grow up and not laugh at just disgusting humor. So there's a little bonus for you. But my number 5 is just my very specific nerdiness, the things that I just can't let go and am obsessed with.
Oh, we got ourselves a stare down.
Oh my!
If you don't dance, it's not real. That's what I always
It's
said
actually
in my
in our bylaws
dates in junior
that is
high.
written there,
Yeah. Okay, so Nathan, your number 5, which is you're saying your nerdiness, your certain type of joie de vivre, as we say
Precisely.
in the show, that links up with Brian's number 2. Brian, give us your number 2, sir.
My number 2 is that I will not change my style or lack thereof.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm hearing that. Okay. Nathan, roll us down your number 5.
All right. The ways in which I am nerdy, we can go over them. I hone in on a few very special interests, and I just ride them out to the end. I've got long hair. I've had long hair most of my life. I grew out my long hair because of Lord of the Rings.
Was that why?
That was why.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh,
I watched Lord of the Rings.
Rock and roll.
That certainly helps. But we'll get to rock and roll, obviously.
Okay,
In fact, that'll
okay.
be the next thing. For anybody watching on YouTube, you'll see I've got this Celtic knot necklace.
Wait, hold on. We're not just gonna go right by the Lord of the Rings here. Hold on, 1 second. Hold on. Who in the Lord of the Rings were you emulating with your long hair?
Well, see, there's 2 stages of life. I'm entering into one now that I'm 35. Like right around my 33rd birthday is when I stopped the Orlando Bloom phase, and now I've entered into the Viggo Mortensen phase. So it's a transition. Second puberty is what I call it.
Okay.
In the mythic world of Tolkien, this is your second puberty. But yeah, I'm
Got
a
it.
big Lord of the Rings. When I was in Oxford once, I literally walked an hour and a half in the rain to visit Tolkien's final resting place. That is a thing that I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Woof.
Wait, is that one way or round trip was an hour and a half?
I can't remember.
That makes a difference.
It might have been one way an hour and a half and then an hour and a half
Woo.
back. Yeah.
That's like a third of a Lord of the Rings movie.
Well, I had them playing on my phone. You know, it was.
Oh, good.
It all tied together.
yeah.
It was a beautiful rainy afternoon. Then I'm wearing this necklace, which is
Mm-hmm.
it's a Celtic knot, but really it's also John Paul Jones's symbol from Led Zeppelin, and Led Zeppelin, their lyrics heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings, so it all ties together. I've got so many Led Zeppelin. I got Led Zeppelin artwork. I have Led Zeppelin T-shirts.
Question. I didn't know that bands made all their members of a band have their own symbol as well.
Just
is that regular for bands?
This is just Led Zeppelin on the Led Zeppelin 4 album, which doesn't have a title. The actual title is the 4 unpronounceable symbols that they have.
Oh, okay.
This one happens to be John Paul Jones.
I mean, I'm going to give you some bonus points here. What are all 4 symbols?
Jimmy Page is. It looks like the word Zoso, as Z-O-S-O.
Okay.
So sometimes people mistakenly call the album Zoso, but they're idiots. Just call it Led Zeppelin 4. Come on, let's be simple.
Okay.
There's no reason to
Okay,
make this 4 symbol rune thing complicated. John Paul Jones, like I said here, John Bonham is 3 interlocking circles, and then Robert Plant's is
Is a 3 interlocking circles like an overhead view of the amount of bananas as he's putting them down his throat
kind of,
at a
yes.
time? Is that 3? Okay.
and then Robert Plant's is a ring with sort of a like leaf inside of it.
Oh, pot.
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
it's a
Okay.
long thin leaf. I don't know. It's kind of lame.
Oh,
They're lame.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
gonna lie. Except this one that I wear around my neck every single day because I'm a huge nerd.
okay. got
Branching
it.
off of that, then we go obviously to the next rock and roll thing, which is the Stones,
Yep.
which I have.
Are they rock and roll or are they blues? Nathan is laughing nervously and angrily right now.
I have substituted my obsession with the Stones for a personality for the last few years, but I'm going to continue to ride it out. It's going to go. I've got for Christmas this year, I got the Little People, is it Fisher Price Little People in Stones version from my sister.
Oh,
beautiful gift.
Oh,
and
that is a great gift.
And I've got, the Stones artwork and the Stones t-shirts and everything. And I am 35. This part of my wardrobe is going nowhere, but it's going to have to be compensated by the other part of my wardrobe. Mm-hmm. Chicago Bulls. I have 3 closets for clothes in my apartment. One of them is the coat closet.
Lucky.
So on one rack, I have the coats, and on the other rack, I have all the Chicago Bulls stuff. And I went to
idea you had all your Bull stuff in one area.
I do. Which goes against the rest of how disorganized my life is. But all the Chicago Bulls stuff has to be there. I actually went to see my therapist not too long ago, and this was probably very telling. And I wasn't wearing black and red because also Manchester United sneaks in there once in a while. And I just generally wear those colors. It's just become and I wasn't wearing black and red. And my therapist, literally, first thing she said in what I assume was genuine shock was like, I don't think I've ever seen you not wearing black and red. And I was like, I don't know if
this is the breakthrough we need.
Does she really feel like we need to address this? So anyways,
yes.
I am a total nerd. I've had obsessions with these few things, and I exude them about my person and the decor of my home. I lay it at your feet.
Okay. I would venture to say that in and of itself, if you were just like, oh, I like the Bulls and the Stones and Zeppelin, people would be like, you're not a nerd. But if they were to spend an evening with you, enjoying some beers or whiskey, and then find out how much you can unravel the onion, if you will, then they might be like, wow, holy cow, you know a lot, sir. You have definitely nerded out over this.
All of these things individually are cool, but then I have just amassed so much. It's like, if you like a couple of spices, and I'm venturing into your territory here using a cooking analogy.
Sure.
If you like a couple spices, you're like, oh, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. That's delicious. I'm dumping the entire bottle of everything.
You're like, who's in for dill steak tonight? We're doing just one day of dill steak again, guys.
Old dill steak.
That is how I crossed over into nerdiness.
All right, Nathan, I just want to test the depth here, okay? I'm turning on Bassmaster 8000's Depth Finder. Pick it up for a great price right across the street from Sisters Beer and Spirits at the Big Fish Hole, right by Elbow Lake in Minnesota there. I'm testing the depth here. What is the most nerdy piece of trivia that you can summon about Ronnie Wood of the Rolling Stones?
Ronnie Wood, okay. Oh, well, this is perfect because it's also a fact about Led Zeppelin. It all ties together. Is that Ronnie Wood's wife has the same birthday as my mom, who has the same birthday as Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin.
Oh my God.
Ding dong.
Also Kate Middleton, Duchess of Cambridge, happy birthday to her.
Yes.
Her Royal Highness, happy birthday.
Oh,
she's definitely listening.
Yes, yeah.
We did have 5 downloads in the UK the past 28 days. I'm sure they were all her.
Well, she does have her own iPhone, I think, right? Did she get her own iPhone?
They've allowed her now that she's 40. They allow her to.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Brian, I want to hear about your stance on your style.
My stance is there isn't much of one. I remember being in high school, and one of my friends, she said to me, we were having a conversation in the back of the classroom, and blah blah blah. And she said, anyway, even Brian has style. He sticks to his reds, his blacks, and his blues. Okay? And I was like, what are we talking about? And I was like, that's the definition of style? And I was like, that was the first time I ever heard the word style in my name in the same sentence. And it was like, Oh, no, I just don't diversify my colors. Okay, got it. But even to this day, like, I've never really cared about clothes or hair. I've never spent, as Mitch likes to say, when I tell him I've never spent more than $17 on a haircut, he says, it shows. And I take that back. I went to a Sports Clips once, and I never went back because they only put sports on the TVs. They won't let me put anything else. Like, we put on AMC. I thought this was for men. Like, we please do something else now. But I wore baseball caps even when I still had hair. Like, the inevitable Ron Howard look with Scorsese brows is like, it's here to stay. It's always been here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a polo and jeans at work, t-shirt and jeans at home kind of guy. Like, this is what I've always had. It will always be. I don't have enough cool graphic tees to go toe-to-toe with Nathan, but my lack of a definitive style, apparently, according to my friend from high school, is a style. So that's my number 2.
People who wear all black every day, that's a style. People who wear, your American cowboy who wears denim from head to toe, save for the leather on his feet, that's a style.
It's all questions about whether it wants to be emulated. I don't think anyone wants to emulate Nathan or I.
Well, what? I bet some Chicago Bulls during warm-ups and a game would, that would do.
Reminds me to a callback I can always offer. Nathan, my Jay Williams jersey is always here for you anytime you need it.
Let's hope he can get the skid marks off. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Was that too low? Oh, gosh, I'm sorry.
That was pretty scary. Whatever.
I have to give Brian some points for his number 5 here. His My Clock is the highway you must travel on. I get it. I kind of wanted to hear another story of you kind of running the time show, if you will. So I'm going to give you 2 points for that there. And then this stare down, I liked the specific anecdote you gave, Brian, from high school. But Nathan's fact about Ronnie's and his mom and then Jimmy Page.
Today is all 3 of their birthday. Today.
Oh, today is. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay. That's gonna take.
Just give him the points for pulling that out of his ass.
It's gonna take the nerd cake. It's gonna take the nerd cake. Yeah.
I can't do that.
All right. That was okay.
All right, we are off the rails. We are back on the rails.
We are back on the rails. Okay, number 4. Let's go back to Brian. What is that, my good sir?
My number 4, which is of course, brought to you by Staunch Claspin, best buckles below Broadway. I vow to stay disorganized as I find order in my chaos. Oh my goodness.
All we're doing is staring each other down. This is whew.
My eyes are dry from being so wide and looking at me.
Okay, so Brian, you said you vow to stay disorganized. You love the chaos in your disorder. Nathan,
Yes.
What's your number 4 that matches up with Brian's?
Not making my bed.
Oh, simple, straight to the point,
Nice.
classic. Okay, actually, I'm gonna go. Nathan, tell us about that not making your bed thing. I'm gonna leave it to Brian to do the big finale here.
Oh, I was hoping to go to Brian first so I could write my advertising thing down.
You got to sneak it in when I'm talking.
Well, my number 4 is, of course, brought to you by Carlton's Mask Emporium, Montpelier's #1 Tom Poston mask manufacturers since 1981.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I don't make my bed, so I mean I do sometimes, and I think we all know what times that is when somebody who isn't me, that doesn't normally stay around me, has to come see the bedroom for the first time. Then I'll make my bed.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Okay.
I'm not a monster. But
Wait, does that mean if they return, you will not make the bet on the second or third return?
it's like a 4th or 5th, because at a certain point they're going to have to accept me for who I am. You know?
Okay.
But
Are the sheets clean on the first visit?
of course,
Or
for a while.
actually washed at least. Cool.
I'm gonna keep recording these later. I think the good stuff comes out this time of night. The moon is in the perfect position.
There it is.
But
okay.
I don't make the
going.
bed because, particularly if it's just going to be me, or if it's going to be me and somebody who I'm sharing my entire life with, we're gonna leave that place, and then we're gonna spend the day elsewhere. Then we're gonna come back. And why make it if we're just gonna then unmake it? And then it's just a waste of time. This is an efficiency thing more than anything. It's an efficiency thing. And now once I was in a group therapy session at one point some years ago, and there's a young man who had a lot of really great insights, and he actually said that one of the things that really turned his life around was making his bed every morning, because then he could wake up, he would turn around, he would look at that bed, he would make it, and he'd say, okay, I at least accomplished this. Now I've got started. So I was like, okay, I'm going through a rough patch in life. I'm going to give this a try. I did it for 7 days, and my life was just as shitty as it was 7 days earlier. so it's out. I've made up my mind on this one. I am not going to be a bed maker. And now I know that our host, Mitch.
Yeah.
Mitch makes his bed. Or at least when we shared a room freshman year, I remember a couple times you'd be like, oh, hey, can you scoot out of the way of the TV? I'm going to make my bed. And I sat there in amazement, just complete shock, watching an 18-year-old make his bed. And it was with great wonder that I gazed upon him. So I salute you for it. I understand that my choice is not for everybody. I respect the bed makers out there. I just don't happen to be one of you.
Yeah, in that freshman year, I just want to say Nathan's bed was vaulted, so his bed was at no point going to be a bench or a seating area.
True.
That is probably why I made the bed. But also, when you have a seersucker blanket, if that thing is crumpled, it doesn't have that crisp, look of a country club, when it's nice and
that was the vibe that we were going for in our room freshman year.
Absolutely.
That was what they called us, the country club boys. Oh, here come those country club boys from the fourth floor.
I think for the audience sake, you guys got to describe this layout a little better, because you just said Mitch said he had to. Can I stand in front of the TV to make the bed? What is the layout of this?
Simple. So we're sitting in front of the TV. It's right behind us is Mitch's desk. Two chairs very close together. To the left is Mitch's bed.
This is a dorm, not an apartment.
Correct. Left is Mitch's bed.
That makes a lot more sense.
To the right is my bed that's lofted with my desk and desk chair underneath it. Not a lot of elbow room there.
Got it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense. So I'm picturing like the Clybourne place, and I'm like, what the hell were you guys doing watching just TV in his room? This doesn't make any sense to me.
It's also
then freshman 18 dorm.
I'm gonna offer
it's the beer.
I'm gonna offer Mitch a host bonus point if he can remember our dorm room number back from 2005.
Oh, it would have been 4. Oh boy, 4 goes to the left. 415.
412.
412.
Negative points.
3 off. Son of a bitch. Oh, that's right. We were the 412 boys.
412 boys.
We're always 8 minutes from 420.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, that's such a stupid joke. And we rarely, if ever, smoked pot.
I didn't smoke pot a single time freshman year.
Yeah. And the one time we did, our friend went to jail, and we're like, let's not do that again. Yeah.
Better than any DARE program.
Yeah. Brian, I want to hear about your number 4.
All right. So I vow to stay disorganized because I find the order in my chaos. Like, I know that the jeans that are underneath the chair in the upstairs room, I only wore once. I know those are still good for a day out.
Okay.
I know that the paper clip that I need, I dropped 6 months ago, and it's below that corner of the room because I pushed it away because I didn't really want to sweep. I know it's there. So if somebody makes me clean and makes me do this, you know how much shit I'm going to lose if I clean? I can't do this. And now this carried over into my digital life. I think you guys would both agree I'm one of the few people. It's always like, hey, I tried using this new piece of software. I got a trial. Hey, if you want to try it, I'm using it for this, that, and the other. And I like try and find a reason. If I get something for free, I try to force myself to find a reason to use it instead of just sticking to whatever. So like I always decided that new script ideas have to be in the Notes app on my phone. And then when I want to elaborate that, I have to move to Google Docs. And then from there, I have to extrapolate that into a Word document. It's different than Google Docs.
Yeah.
And from there, I need to open up Final Draft and start doing some scripting forms that way. And then when I come up with a new idea, I have to go put it in the place where it belongs. And before you know it, I'm in the script format looking back at a note that has an idea I had yesterday that I should have just put in the thing. Because that's the way my chaotic brain works. And I will remember where I put it in whatever digital form that it is. Yep, I wrote that there because I was on the bus. And I put it there because that was okay. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God.
I haven't been on a bus in a long time. I have no idea what
I write best on the bus. Thank you very
I was
much.
going to say, all the times I'm just sitting there just bouncing and trying to get the handwriting out. Yeah, it's whatever.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the order in my chaos.
Okay, so there it sounds like there's a thing here though too, maybe a little bit not full hoarder, but a little hoarder tendency here of like
Definitely,
you got it for free, you gotta find some use out of it somehow, or
especially from like things that remind me of a very specific memory.
sure.
Like if I will never throw out. Like I found a folder of all my old artwork from middle school at my parents' house. Like,
Sure.
I'm not going to get rid of that. I'm never going to look at it again.
Sure.
Except maybe once every 15 years and be like, okay, cool, that's nice, but I can't get rid of it. Like there's a lot of stuff like that, just nostalgia value
Yeah.
that I have a real hard time getting rid of.
That's funny you mentioned that because over this past summer, my parents sold my childhood home, and my mom had found some of my old artwork, and she's like, "Do you want to keep this?" And I was like, "I'll just take photos of it and email it to myself, and then we can recycle it. It's fine." And I found one of the things, a brilliant piece of writing by might I say. And I think I was in second grade, and I drew, it was like a planet, and it was like all the things I need for me or something like that. And it said, all I need in this world is ice cream, tender loving care, and everything in the world. That's all I needed as a second grader. I told my parents that I brought it home. I was like, this is it, Mom and Dad.
So beautiful.
This is how you take care of me. Ice cream, TLC, and then just everything that I want. And then that's it. So,
I remember when I moved out, I remember finding a lot of started projects. I remember finding a notebook, like one of those Mead composition notebooks.
oh God. Oh, the curse of the quarter-filled notebook. All
Not
over.
quarter.
Those
We're
were the ones
talking
that they wouldn't
page-
open correctly, right?
That's just it. I was obsessed with them because of their look.
Oh, like the trapper keeper kind of things?
No. They didn't have the rings. You
That was
couldn't
the
lay them
problem.
flat.
Yeah,
they were
you
horrible.
couldn't-
They were horrible. You couldn't flip them over. You couldn't do anything. It was the Harriet the Spy thing. She wrote in those composition notebooks, so I wanted to write. That's what a writer did.
Got it.
To
Got
copy Harriet the Spy, you had that. So I found one from third grade that said, "The Mystery of the Killer of El Dorado Lane." And I opened it up, and it had one paragraph in it, and then it was empty. It was like
That's a killer
I found
title.
a couple
though.
of.
That's a great title.
It's a great title, and that's where most of my ideas end.
That
an
sounds
idea
like
man,
my Google Drive folder of upcoming works, I think is what it's called. And it's like 25 to 30 documents in there. And I went through it recently and it was like, whoa, what's this? It was called like The Broken Wine Glass. I was like, oh, what's this? Click in and it's like a guy drops a wine glass and is embarrassed to pick it up. And I'm like, that's it? That's the whole story.
Back to my disorganized digital flow there.
Yeah.
In my notes app, I used to, every time I had a new idea, create a new note. So they would just be a mess. So now, to kind of take the therapy approach of making your bed every day, I have one note that has a bunch of ideas in it. Instead of just saying they're ideas, I call it they're one-day will-be's.
Oh, I like
So
that a lot.
You have to will them into existence. They're one-day will-be's. They're not notes. Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yes.
With that sweet little title you just gave me there, the One Day Will Be's, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on this stare down, Brian. You're getting 3 points here. I don't know if anyone's surprised on that. I feel like I kind of telegraph that a little bit, but hey, that's the game here.
That's
when
the
you
game,
have a
man.
crooked carny running it. Okay.
Do you guys remember any of the carnies from your local fairs?
Oh my God! A guy named Jimmy. Just one guy, one year. Jimmy, classic, long greasy hair. He had a hat on, and he's smoking a cigarette. And I remember him because it was the ride that looks like octopus arms.
The Tilt-A-Whirl.
You get on. It's not the Tilt-A-Whirl because it's like
But
four
similar.
arms, and then each arm has like 3 offshoots for little like 2-person cars or whatever.
Yeah.
And it goes up and then it starts spinning and it there's a tilt to it or whatever. Is that the Tilt-A-Whirl?
It's
No, the Tilt-A-Whirl is like we were sitting in anyway.
Yeah. But so
Jimmy.
I was too young, and as a young boy, my head was the exact same size as it is now. So the G's picked up, and my head hit the bar that like is at your lap. Hit the bar, and I didn't have enough neck muscle to take my head off the bar because it was moving so quickly. And I wasn't strapped in tightly enough, and I was just yelling like, "Stop the ride! Stop the ride!" Guy never heard us because he was smoking and probably hitting on 15-year-olds or whatever. And
As you do.
yeah. I finally get off, and my brother's like, "Let's go back to mom," and I literally couldn't pick my head up the rest of the day because I had pulled all of my neck muscles, and
Jesus.
I remember Jimmy. I remember I looked at him on the way out and was just so mad at him. But of course, I was in Minnesota, so I couldn't say anything. I just smiled at him as I walked out and like, thank you
for the ride.
Yeah, thanked him for my pain and my suffering. So
The only one I remember is a guy who always worked at the fun house for whatever reason, the mystery fun house. That was the only thing he would take your tickets. He had no fingers or thumbs.
what?
He only had these nubs that he could grab your ticket with. And I remember being really, really young. And that was the first time I ever saw someone with like a hand disability. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? And then every year it just became a thing. It's like, are we going to see him again? Is he going to be there? Sure enough, like 5 years in a row, there was the guy with the nub hands. And it was like,
Wow.
no one ever had the courage to like talk to him like a human and ask him like, hey, what's going on? What happened?
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, it's just the mystery is what we lived on.
Well, that's a pretty scarring story, and I'm hoping that Nathan's number 3
will definitely get us back on the rails. We're far off.
will get us back on the rails, and maybe not scar us so bad. Who knows? We'll see. Nathan, what's your number 3?
That's right. My number 3, of course, it's sponsored from South Bend, Indiana. Father Callahan's Valiant Vespens. Now serving convents, make wearing a nice habit a habit.
Ding, 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 ding.
And,
That's cash in the bank for us. Thank you, Father Callahan.
and my number 3 is I avoid vegetables, and I'm going to continue to avoid vegetables. I don't like vegetables. I don't like eating vegetables, and I eat them sometimes because I like being alive, but I eat the bare minimum amount of vegetables to continue to live and be healthy. And then I don't eat them, and then I'm happy. So I do the things that I have to do to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really awful and horrible every single time. And I try different ways of, I like other people will make, they're like, oh, here, I've made you some roast vegetables that are blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, finally, this is going to be great. 3 bites. Oh, this is amazing. And then the 4th bite, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, not again. It's just vegetables. And so I don't eat them. I don't do it. And I know I'm probably have taken 10 years off of my life, but we're here today to talk about bad habits that we won't give up. Some people smoke. Some people, people have plenty of vices that are going to take years off their life. Mine, I just can't eat vegetables. And I've gone 35 years. I remember when I was a kid, a lot of people were like, your taste will change, your taste will change, your taste will change. As you get older, your palate changes. Certain taste buds develop and certain taste buds diminish. Guys, it's not happening. I don't like vegetables. I don't like them. So there you go.
All vegetables. Just all the onions. Can't eat onions.
Those Midwesterners among us, Mitch, your hometown folks up in the Minnesota area will remember the Red Green Show.
Yeah.
The Red Green
yeah.
Show, homespun Canadian wisdom.
Yep.
15 seasons it was on. I've seen every single episode, many of them multiple times. And my favorite joke ever from that show is him with Winston Rothschild. They're just sitting out in a fishing boat, fishing. Cameras just circling around them. It's a very serene shot. And Winston says to Red, he says, "Red, what's the worst thing you ever ate?" And Red goes, vegetables. That sums up my worldview.
Oh, and we're not counting, because technically by government standards, would potato chips count as vegetables now in a government school meal? I think it would, right? Because they are made out of potatoes, technically.
Well, they used to consider pizza vegetables because it had tomato sauce.
That's right. Oh, those lucky children got all their veggies right on their pizza.
Yeah.
Well, in that case...
What, Nathan...
yeah.
What is the best, closest to edible vegetable dish you've ever had? And what is the one vegetable, like, never again is going in?
We covered this on our Christmas episode. Brussels sprouts and I are not friends.
We know that. Okay, that's definitely a never again.
Yeah.
But what was the one that almost got
zucchini? Grilled zucchini. I think I could possibly shoehorn into my diet. And then also zucchini bread, guys. Especially made by my sister Laurel. Laurel, shout out to you and your zucchini bread. Sent me home with a loaf and some tin foil not that long ago. Mwah, zucchini bread.
Oh my God.
That's
okay.
So maybe it's hyphenated.
You have to smuggle it.
Vegetables with
you have
something.
To smuggle it through the border. You gotta encase it in something that's entirely not a vegetable, and then you can get it into my system.
So let's say I'm growing zucchini north of the border, let's say, and I've got, like, I don't know, 15 kilos of zucchini. I'm drying it out. I'm putting into a powder, and I wrap it tight in saran wrap, and I just stuff that into a car made out of, I don't know, sugar, butter, flour, and spices. Then I'm sneaking that into your country easy, is what you're saying.
I think maybe you would probably need some lamb with some
Pour
Indian
some beer
spices.
On that too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bake it in a sort of a beer bread sort of situation that you know, a nice rise to it. That would be good.
Okay. Interesting. Pasta. You'll eat pasta.
I will eat pasta.
Okay. Next time you come over, I'm gonna sneak vegetables into you, and then I'll ask you afterwards, how did I get those into you? And then you'll go, I have no idea, but it was delicious.
That's fine. I am grateful for that because somebody's got to look out for me.
This is gonna be a really fun game. I'm actually very excited for this, to see if I can sneak vegetables into you without you knowing it.
I may not get points on this round, but I have at least guaranteed myself several delicious meals.
You're going to have to give them a naked juice label, like at the end of it, like, I snuck in 5 apples and 7 bananas, a whole head of kale, all in that one little bite.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, yeah, I'm already brimming with ideas and ways to jam that green in your tum tum. Okay, Brian, you're number 3. Deliver it. Hard, fast, and strong.
My number
Let's go.
3, yes, of course, is brought to you by Belch McFlannery's Meadery, Helena, Montana's best expired meadery.
Oh.
McFlannery's. It's still good. Number 3, I will not learn a new hobby. I'm done with hobbies. No more.
Oh, interesting.
Nothing more. I've learned enough. I'm putting a lid on it. Like, I'm hyper fixated on too many as it is, and I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I would say my intermediary guitar playing skills is a hobby. It's not going to lead to anything.
Intermediary? You mean?
Yes.
So
intermediate. I am an intermediate. Yes.
Oh! You said intermediary. I thought you were talking to spirits from beyond, or I thought you were doing that kind of thing with your guitar.
That was me. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I know like 3 songs on piano. That's not enough to even I can't even go to a dueling pianos thing and do anything cool. It's like, and also, what's the point of a new instrument at this point? I'm too old for a band, too young for an orchestra. Where do I fit?
It's too young for an orchestra. Have you ever seen an orchestra?
They're mainly old people.
Have you seen these violin prodigies?
I'm kidding.
They're like 3.
I'm kidding. I'm talking about, I couldn't be an orchestra conductor. All right, here we go. Let me narrow it down.
Sidebar question. Fair. Brian,
yes.
is one of your retirement fantasies is to be like one of the piano players at Howlin' at the Moon?
That'd be great.
Yeah?
I wish I could do that.
Okay. Because
Here's the problem. We've been over this before on other musical episodes. I can't learn anything by ear. And I feel like that is the thing to learning any new instrument.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Prince could hear a freaking recorder and know how to pick it up and do a solo on it. Like, I can't. I'm not one of those people.
Brian and I are
So-
very similar in our musical abilities. And Brian's doing himself a disservice. Brian is a fine guitar player. And I like to think I can do some pretty cool stuff on the guitar. But Brian and I just learn stuff on the guitar because we're like, God damn it, I'm going to learn this song on the guitar. And we just don't quit until we know it. And then people will be like, how are you doing that? And we're like, we have no idea behind the theory. We just have decided we were going to memorize how to do it. And then that's how it works.
We ran our heads into the brick wall as many times as we had time to do so until it clicked. And now we have this skill that does nothing for us.
Okay, so you've got guitar, you've got piano. What else is there?
Other thing, I fell down a YouTube rabbit hole once of card tricks. Like, I sit here with cards and just fiddle with them. I'm not going to learn to do magic. Like, what are you doing? I can't do that shit. You know how much sleight of hand, how like ambidextrous you got to be and to do this stuff. And it's like, I got big old Vienna sausage fingers. Like, I can hide a lot of stuff real easy, but I can't get it out quick enough. So that's good. I mean, I've dabbled in web design, camera shit. I've bought accessories up to wazoo. And it's just like every once in a while you pick up a new YouTube rabbit hole and you're like, oh man, this can be people who build decks. I'm going to watch people build decks for like a week and be like, oh man, one day when I have a house, I'm going to retain all this and be able to deck build as a hobby. No, I'm not.
But you
Why
could,
do I do
though.
this to
Eventually you
myself?
could. I mean, like, you don't need to memorize how to build a deck. That's why you have YouTube.
That's just it. I will say I have done so much because of YouTube.
Yeah.
The amount of things I have fixed, the amount of things I have built, the amount of things I have learned for free is a miracle.
Yeah.
So that's great. But I'm to the point now where it's like I've gotten to be a jack of all trades, master of none, in enough things that like my brain's at capacity, I think.
Okay.
I will still pick up a little things along the way here, but it's like it's kind of like, do I need to meet new people? Do I need to like know more people than I do? I'm pretty good. Do I need to watch that show?
I'm going to take that as a
man,
compliment.
you should really get to...
He's very satisfied, Mitch, with you and me being his friends. He feels I have achieved the ultimate.
Yeah.
These are my friends. There's no one better out there than those two handsome young men.
There's
There's
nothing that makes me more uncomfortable when people are like, I'm going to have a wedding of like 300 to 400 people. And I'm like, I haven't met 300 people, let alone enough I like enough to like actually care about this. And also, why do I want them to bring $100 for a plate to this futuristic event? I don't care. I know like 12 people that I care about. That's way more than I'll ever need.
There are more
Plenty.
than 12 people that you know listening to you say that right now, and everybody's kind of like making a checklist like, "Ooh, I'm definitely above them," but
See where you folks rank. Brian's Dirty Dozens.
Next week's episode of Uber Cinco, the final rankings of everyone in our life. Mom, don't listen. Okay.
Laying down the hammer. No holds barred. Here we go. Oh shit.
Brian, what's the nerdiest hobby that you retain and that you've been doing for years?
Have you guys heard the John Mulaney bit where he's like, I don't need any new music. I've listened to the point where it's like, I will never need to hear a new song.
Wow.
That's kind of where I am. I filter between a Bruce Springsteen playlist, a Foo Fighters playlist, and then just Rolling Stones radio. So it's like whatever bluesy inspired the Rolling Stones to whoever copied the Rolling Stones. And it's just, you got Led Zeppelin in there. It goes back, especially the Bruce playlist. You go back to Roy Orbison. You get a bunch of mix in there. I don't need to listen to anything else. And that is my hobby of making just 2 playlists that are just good enough for me.
This is where I disagree entirely, is because I've had so many failed relationships that so much music is now just painful to listen to because of horrible, awful nostalgia. I need to start from scratch. I've got to throw everything away and start over.
It's just like, like there's some new stuff. Like if I listen to the new Adele album, that was great. That was cool. I like that. But like if I listen to anything that's like on B96 here in Chicago, I've got people who have been listening to that station, which is the pop station, for their entire lives and just change what they like based on what's popular. And I'm like, I'm getting old man syndrome. I'm like, it's getting worse. Everything on it sucks. It's terrible. I didn't like it when I was 10 and I was supposed to like pop music. I didn't like it. So I feel like I've been this old Ron Howard Scorsese browed man since I was an adolescent. And yeah, Marvel movies. That's kind of where I'm at. So.
Was your costume at school when you were 10 like an old man on a porch? Like your mom built you a little porch that extended out in front of you, or what was the? I
think you mean my style, Mitch.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. But no, sorry. I did play a mean blue man group with my pals Kevin and Chris one year. That's epic costume.
That's yeah. Okay, guys.
That's for our top 5 Halloween episode.
Yeah. These number 3s were not surprising because I know both of you. Brian, you obviously you're the king of YouTube, really. I mean, you're like, hold on, just give me a weekend and I'll become a semiconductor of the Toledo Orchestra. Even though I'm way too young for it. But
you know what? Toledo is where I have my sights, and I would be happy with that accomplishment.
That's true. And Toledo, the beautiful city by the lake in Ohio. So I'm going to give Nathan. I'm giving you 3 points for the veggies because I'm excited to hide cruciferous, nutritious vegetables in you one day.
I can't wait.
Without you knowing. And Brian, I'm hearing this on you. I wanted to hear a little more about some other strange, weird little hobbies that we're not sure about. Maybe haven't shared widely with the world yet. So I'm going to give you 2 points there. So we're moving on. Brian, we've already heard your number 2 from the stare down. So we're going to go back to Nathan for his number 2.
Number 2 is, of course, brought to you by my hometown, a legitimate, real establishment.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. B&C's Hometown Cafe in Roseville, Illinois. That's right. B&C's, no, not Barf and Choke, because that's what everybody called it. So they changed the name to the Lunchbox Cafe, which is erroneous because they close at 11 a.m. They're open from 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. so the farmers can go have coffee and then they go home. B&C's. Former B&C's, now the Lunchbox. Where one time I ordered toast and they didn't have any bread, so I saw the guy who owned it go 2 doors down to the grocery store and come back with a bag of bread. Yes, that's right.
Resilience.
My number 2 is starting more books than I can handle. This is something I have done my whole life, and I still do it, is I start reading a book. It's getting worse because our attention spans are dwindling. We've got our phone screens. We've got all the apps. We've got all the streaming services. We spend hours scrolling through Netflix and never deciding on a movie. Our attention spans are over. It's done. And so I'm worse at this than I ever have been. I'll start a book and then I'll start another book because it looks enticing. And all of a sudden I'm reading 6 or 7 books at a time. But I've decided to take this.
That's too many plots to keep straight.
It's too many. So I've decided to put this to the test. So I am introducing a new feature on Über Cinco. It'll be very brief, but every week for 2022, we're going to have Nathan's Literary Corner, where he tells you what book he finished, because Nathan will be reading 52 books in 2022.
Wow.
And I'm doing this so I will be held accountable. So I have to come up with something every week. And I realize what this means. I'm going to be reading a lot of very short books this year. Because I'm finishing one that I have about 50 pages to go, and one that it's a breeze, it's a fly through. But I'm reading The Mirror and the Light, which is the 3rd in the Wolf Hall trilogy by Hilary Mantel.
Oh, soapy, gossipy.
It's quite,
intrigue.
It's quite dense. She's a beautiful writer. I've finished the first 2 books, and I'm finishing the 3rd now, and I expected to have it done by tonight, and I don't. I fell short, but this is my vow that you can now all laugh at me as I fail throughout the year. But every week, I want to come to you with a new book that I have finished. And if I fail one week, that means I got to come up with 2. We're going the whole year here. I got to read 52 books.
How are you going to read 45 books in December?
It's going to be I'm going to have to find myself unemployed sometime around November 10th if this is going to happen.
We could make that happen.
I have done this before. In 2015, I read 52 books. I've done it once before. But you also have to remember, and this is a very important detail, for most of 2015, I was unemployed. And lived for at least 4 months of it, lived in a home with no internet. So,
well, there you go.
That'll definitely
that
do
helps.
it.
Well, if you need any help catching up, I've got a bunch of pamphlets on drywall and seed corn that would be tantalizing material for you. So,
no, Nathan, don't pick up a new hobby. Don't do it.
There was a couple years back. I was asking Danny. I said, "Can we be friends on Goodreads?" And she's like, "I don't think you would do it. Let's not do that." I was like, "I'm not."
As someone who doesn't know what books are, what's Goodreads?
Oh my God, Goodreads is an incredible website that has history basically of all the books, and you can track them. You can say, "I'd like to read this book." You can like update your progress on it. You can have friends on it, so you can see what your friends are reading. You can get recommendations for other books.
So it's more boring than Facebook, but a spreadsheet for the books you've read.
Think of it like IMDb for books, basically.
That makes sense. Okay, so that's cool.
But then I was like, Danny, can we be friends? And my partner Danny is a voracious reader, and she's like, I don't know. And finally, I got her to agree to be friends with me. And then I looked at, and I was like, oh, I've read like on my Goodreads account, whatever, in the past. With this, like 2015, I've read like 130 books or whatever in the past couple of years. I'm like, that's good. I look at her account. She has like 1,700 books on there read. And I'm like, I have never felt so dumb or small before until looking at her account and then seeing it, like getting updates, like updates from Danny, like every other day. I was like, she finished this book. She finished that book. She finished that book. And then I found out her record for a year was 186 books in 1 year.
Boom.
Yeah. And I'm just like, and then of course, so then I'm like, you know what? I want to be a better reader. Let's read together. And then I sit down and I notice how quickly she's turning the pages. And then I'm like,
oh, you can't do that.
And then I realized she reads literally twice as fast as I do, and I was like, okay, I can't read next to anymore. This isn't good for me. So yeah,
that's like when
I don't think I've opened 20 books.
That's like when I wanted to get better at running. I wanted to run a little faster, so I worked out with Usain Bolt for a few days, and that was that was the end.
Not great.
And he's like, Nathan, how come you can't keep up? We just got to run at this speed. And you're like, fine, never mind. Damn. Okay. We're gonna go over to Brian for his number one. Nathan, sorry, let me score you out there. I wasn't gonna give you 3 points until you came up with Nathan's Literary Corner. I hope I didn't butcher the title there. So you're getting 3 points because this is a big goal, and I love it. And 2021 and 2020, the world's been gripped. I think it's time that we all break out of our shells here and start. We need to shake up the jar. We need to shake it up, and we need to get things moving a little bit. So I love that idea. I'm giving you 3 points, Brian. I'm going to speak slowly, so you are ready to give me your number one, along with your beautiful sponsor here right now.
Yes. So my number one, of course, is brought to you by Blanche Esther Rogers. Ironic flowers for serious occasions. Now, my number one is food related once again.
Cool.
But I will always, and I will never change this about myself, give the better presented plate to my significant other or guests.
Wow. Oh, you are such a saint. Oh my God. Wow. Number one guy in the world. Wow. You're such a martyr. You are such a martyr.
Okay. First of all, shut your hole. Second, you know how much work a good meal can take sometimes, and you want to also enjoy it yourself. Yep. If you've got the perfect piece of steak, you slice it the amount, just like perfect against the grain, and it fanned out. it fanned out perfectly on that plate in a perfect little arch.
Yep.
And then you go to do the second plate, and it just didn't happen quite as good.
Yeah.
But, everything's going to taste the same. Everything's going to be blah, blah, blah. And you put that dollop of mashed potatoes and you do the spoon, like, in it, just a perfect little puddle for the gravy.
Yep.
And then whatever vegetable Nathan's going to push into the trash right there, perfectly roasted, like a maple bacon Brussels sprout, as I enjoyed today. Like that, whatever. So if you drip, you can, especially if you got like the butter coming out of the Brussels sprouts and you're spooning it on and it drips on the side, blah, blah, blah. But you want to take the perfect plate to sit at the table, just to sit there for 2 seconds and just enjoy your work.
Yep.
But no, like I'm still going to give the good plate to whoever I need to impress, because I'm like, no, that's the perfect one. That's the showstopper. I need to show off my skills here. Now, I also do this when there's a lack of presentation, when it's just a normal dinner day. Mm-hmm. I like to make a meal and hand Jenny like a nice plate, again, to have this presentation. Now, if I haven't done the dishes in a while and there's only one clean plate, she's getting the plate and nothing's touching, and I'm putting it all in a bowl and I'm just going to eat what I can. So I feel like this is a pretty good quality. I know it's not a huge sacrifice, but it's something that I like. I'm going to keep because, hey, I want you guys to enjoy the spoils of what maybe little labor I put into it. If it's just mac and cheese from a box, we all work sometimes. We got to do the shitty meals. Yeah. But hey, presentation's always got to be good. It's the third part of the meal, and everyone always forgets about it. Yeah, good ingredients, cooked well. It's got to look good.
That's very true. I love this. You're getting, this is an easy 3 points for me. You're playing to your audience here. That's obvious. And your mention of Nathan pushing the veggies into the trash reminded me of when I was in preschool. I was 4 or 5 years old. I'm at daycare, and my friend Kai, I sat next to him every single day at lunchtime. He also hated vegetables, but we were best buds, and we were a dynamic duo because he would put his broccoli underneath like the rim of his plate, and then I would just go and sneak under there with my little fingers, pull his broccoli out, and eat it. So I got twice as much broccoli, and then the people running the daycare thought he ate his broccoli. And this went on for like half the summer until one day he got up from his spot too early before I could eat all the broccoli. They picked his plate up and found a ring of broccoli on the table, and we were caught. And I actually got a note sent home and said, Mitchell cannot eat other children's food anymore. He is stealing their nutrients. And my mom was like, okay, fine, I get it. Like, you want the other kids to eat, but like, I'm not going to tell my kid to eat less broccoli. So, yeah. So,
okay, if that's your dumbest thing, Nathan, can you recall the dumbest thing that a teacher or adult ever said, like, we have to have a conversation about? Cause I'll let you think about it, because the one that's reminding me is I remember riding the school bus to intermediate school, so 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And I was one of the hobbies I picked up, I was super into yo-yos. I feel like I've mentioned this before, but that my grandfather, I don't know how it fell off a truck. He got an entire box of Duncan yo-yos. Perfect, brand name yo-yos. So I got a trick book, and oh my God, was I obsessed with that. I did not yo-yo on the bus. I was only reading the trick book, and I passed the book to a neighbor, and that was distracting to the bus driver that we were passing notes and books back and forth. That he could not drive with that happening. Told the principal. I got called into the principal's office. What? They called my parents to come down and said, we have to have a meeting about Brian's behavior.
What?
And my parents got there, and when they told him this story, my parents looked at the principal in the eye, like, don't you ever call me down to the school for anything like this again. This is a waste of everyone's time. You're an idiot. And they left. It was awesome.
Go,
it was awesome.
That's my...
I can't remember if it was my mom or my dad. I just remember them being so furious that they either had to leave work early or come in for this meeting for nothing. I'm like, he was reading a book on the bus. Why are we here? So must have been my dad with that tone. Yeah. Just like, why are we here?
I would love to see just Rick just starting to boil. Then your mom just like puts her arm like, honey, I got this. If you bring us down here one more fucking time, it just dresses down the principal.
Oh God, that's the stupidest story from my youth right there.
Oh, That's terrible. I've one. Nathan, do you have a good one? Because I have a very dumb one that I got in trouble for.
The one that I thought of is way too long for where we're at in the show.
Oh,
Save it.
this is okay. This is also very nerdy. I was a sophomore in high school. I was going home on the bus down Summit Avenue in St. Paul, and the pastor from my church was jogging, and the pastor's name was Pastor Dick. And I yelled out the window. I said, "Hey, Pastor Dick!" And he saw me and waved, and I waved back at him. I go home. The next day, I get called to the principal's office, and they're like, "The driver said you yelled at someone driving and called them a dick out the window." And I said, "No, that was my pastor." And I had to admit that I was saying hello to my priest from the bus while I was a sophomore in high school.
No. That's the worst kind of confession.
Right? And you're like, oh, I knew my priest even when he was in jogging clothes, and he recognized me and waved back. And I'm like, oh. So, yeah.
I am a
man. See, the funny thing is your story reminded me of another story that would have fit, but it was with the same teacher, so then it would become an even longer story. So I'm going to I'll keep this for a different episode.
Okay.
Audience, keep yourself on your toes. Wait for future episodes.
All right. Brian, as I told you, 3 points for that one. Nathan, you're bringing up the rear here. Give us your number one, please, sir.
Well, this is kind of embarrassing. I tried to start writing a sponsor, but that was a pretty good number one from Brian. I didn't finish that, and actually, we're recording late. This is my mom and Sally Wood, wife of Ronnie Wood's, birthday, and Jimmy Page's birthday, and Kate Middleton's birthday.
Oh, and Jimmy Page. A lot of celebrating you've had to do today. A lot of celebrating.
And we literally, this is the latest we've ever recorded Über Cinco. Like the turnaround time here, us recording and it going out is pretty tight. But still, I did this last minute, and so I actually don't have a number one. I only got to 4.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I only got to 4.
What?
So I can only apologize.
So you're gonna come here not complete to play the game.
I mean, I did play the game. I guess.
Would you go to a basketball game without your shorts? No, I think you'd probably bring your shorts.
I mean, I guess I just procrastinate. There it is, my number one, procrastinating. I will continue to procrastinate. I work well under pressure. I do best at the last minute. Yeah. That's right. I will continue to procrastinate forever because if you wait till the last minute, it only takes 1 minute to do.
Oh God, I can't second that hard enough. That is awesome.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never procrastinated in my life. I
have seen Mitch set his alarm for 5 a.m. at 2 a.m. and then get up and start studying for a final. I have seen him do it. I have watched that happen.
Was that freshman year?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's.
And sophomore, junior.
Well, we did live together again until Mitch was in his final year. Mitch and I might have taken an extra 6 months or so to graduate. We're not pointing fingers at anybody here, but why rush?
Why
things?
do it? Why do it now when you can do it then?
I remember when I graduated from 8th grade, our teachers wanted us to do this silly, stupid thing where it's like, all right, we're going to have the 8th graders. And you got to remember in my school, there were only 28 of us in a class, tiny little school. Every 8th grader, we're going to leave this, we'll put some advice for the 7th and 6th graders coming in, or whatever. And so the advice I came up with as an 8th grader, I was admonished for, which was slack off now because you don't know if you'll have time to slack off later.
That sounds like something Bart would write on the chalkboard in the beginning of a Simpsons episode.
Yeah, they literally refused to print it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, but this is like,
That's not even that bad.
This is the week of 8th grade graduation. And they were like, well, you got to give us something else. Like, we're not printing that. And I was like, I'm pretty sure at this point, since I've already got my report card and know that I've graduated 8th grade, I don't have to give you something else.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Wow.
Who cares?
Wow. See, and that's, Nathan, I want you to never change those fucking balls of steel on you, right? Like, that's incredible. Just to stare authority down straight in its cold, dead eye and say, not today, my man, and blaze your own trail. I love that.
And you do yo-yo tricks out the door.
Oh, that's incredible. Okay, guys. This one's going to be a runaway today. I don't even need to have you guys chit-chat while I do scores. 19 points for Nathan.
Woo.
He ran away with it today, 19-12. So good job on you. Do you have any fast words you want to say before I get to my fast five?
Yes, I want to say thank you to everybody. And again, happy birthday to my mom and dad. And Sally Wood and Jimmy Page. And the judges
So
of Cambridge.
good. All right, that was top 5 things about myself I will never change. And now it is time for the host Fast 5. Here we go. Top 5 things you pretend to be doing while watching your neighbors from across the way. Here we go. Number 5. Sorting your quarters. Anything made pre-1980 is all silver, you guys. Listen for the clong noise when you drop them nervously as your neighbor covers up and sends an icy glare your way. Number 4. Dusting your blinds one blade at a time as you inspect them very closely. Number 3. Marinating your pork, because you know what happens after the sun goes down?
Wait, I'm sorry.
Dinner time! And your pork is America's other white meat, no matter what the cops say when they bang on your door 10 minutes later. Number 2, the stage monologue you've been working on for the part of the Army sniper spotter who drools when looking for targets. The audition was 1 week away, and you really hadn't gotten inside the character yet, as what you'll tell the judge as you slide by with an acquittal. Number 1. The top 5 things you pretend to be doing while watching your neighbors from across the way. Number 1, nonchalantly enjoying a doobie and vermouth while dancing in the privacy of home to a Beach Boys album, wearing your favorite sunglasses, high-top sneakers, and nothing else. And that's this week's edition of Über Cinco. Please rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts. And once again, we love that hearty wham word of mouth. So please tell your friends about us and send them your favorite episode. And thank you to the man who will be hoarding Metamucil for the end times,
Brian Ernst.
That was actually for Nathan, because he doesn't eat enough vegetables. And the man whose mom's birthday is also the birthday of the guy who's good at guitar in the Stones and the guy who's good at guitar in the Zeppelin has been...
Not exactly right, but I won't correct you. Nathan Hennenfeld, hey!
And I've been Mitch Brinkman, and as Biz Bear always says, thank you for reaching out, but I'll be out of the office until the snow melts. I'll respond to all hoots, howls, and roars then. I look forward to circling back with you in the spring and partnering together for our sync then. Good luck in the coming business year. Auf Wiedersehen and adios.
You've just listened to Über Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBK Studios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.